Welcome back, cover 2 credits. We are here yet again with another review. Now, today we are doing a sort of anime review, which I've done before, but Stairs is going to join me this time because he actually saw this first. I just watched it last night, literally, both seasons. And it's interesting. We're going to talk about RWBY. I don't know if you've seen it. It's not spelled like Ruby. There's a W instead of a U.
We'll get to Y.
We'll get to Y later.
Yeah.
But this is a... I hesitate to call it an anime because it's really not. But yet it sort of is. It was done by Rooster Teeth. If you don't know what Rooster Teeth is, they are the YouTube/internet conglomerate that originally started with Red vs. Blue.
And now is in like the 20th season of Red vs. Blue. It's the longest running web series to date.
Well, it was one of the first web series ever.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising it's the longest running one.
Yep.
Because it was one of the originals. And they were one of the original levers that propped up YouTube when it first started.
Yes.
I mean, it was Ron Jenkins and and Rooster Teeth and all those guys, and they were the ones that really built the foundation of it.
And now they're a conglomerate.
And now they are this colossal media corporation that started
so much so that they just crowdfunded a movie that will come out, I believe, in late 2015 called Laser Team, starring guys from Rooster Teeth that looks hilarious.
Now, with that said, like I said, they basically was just started as a couple of dudes who had a funny idea to make a video on a Halo.
Yep.
And it has grown from then. They got super successful, super popular, and then they got all of their internet dollars and decided that they wanted to make an anime. So they did. Sort of.
Yeah.
They didn't really use animation. They used...
Some
it's called Poser?
Yeah, Poser, but some of it was even like I can't think of it, performance capture and stuff like that. Like they literally have people in the mocap suits doing some of these crazy things, and then that's what they relay into the show, which to me is hilarious when you see the anime.
It's interesting all around. Now, the story is, as with most anime, really, it's 4 girls who form this team and they fight evil monsters. Now, it's a pretty common plot device, especially for anime, which it sort of is. But it's done in such a way that it is... I don't know how to describe it, really.
As an American of an anime as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you took an anime and you shoved it in a giant pot and you boiled it down to its root essence and you just slapped it in the glass and served it up.
Yep.
Doesn't
make it bad.
It doesn't make it bad.
I enjoy this a lot.
It makes it very interesting.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it as well. I mean, it was pretty good. It's different than anything you have ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
Especially for what it is and how it started, and as low budget as it was, especially the first season, you could tell.
It was.
Second season was a lot more polished and a lot more standardized. The first season was pretty rough cut.
It was.
But that's, again, for what it is, it's fine. It's not a form of media that you've probably ever seen before. And may never see again. Well, I imagine you will, because as it gets popular, I think more people will do the same sort of thing.
And this was Rooster Teeth's first venture into a long form other than Red vs. Blue, which was their bread and butter.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Story.
Again, we have Ruby Red, who is the main character. She is a young girl. I think she's like a sophomore in high school when it starts.
I think that's about the age.
But because she's a fighter who wants to become a huntress, as they call it, who fight monsters of Grimm, which are basically this quasi-evil force who
all kinds of different monsters
bent on making humanity extinct.
Yep.
That's all they do, is they just kill humans.
Yep.
They don't really need to eat, or they don't really think. They just kill people.
And
that's
you're
their only
talking
thing.
anything and everything you think of monster-wise
Yeah,
are
it's
considered grim.
All of that.
Yep.
And huntresses fight them. Or huntresses and huntsmen fight them.
Yeah, huntsmen.
And like I said, so she went to high school to become a huntress, where she's a crazy good comp. Now she's so good, in fact, that she graduates. They move her from her high school as a sophomore into college, where she meets up with her older sister and meets some new friends.
Yes.
And they go on various insane adventures.
Now, one thing we'll describe real quick. The name of the show is RWBY, but it's spelled RWBY. Now, RWBY stands for the 4 girls.
Yeah, when they make teams, in the first season basically covers
It's
them,
learning.
her getting to school, and they learn, and they make teams, and how the teams are. And all the teams are made up of 4 people, and they use their letters arranged in various ways to make team names. And RWBY is Ruby, Weiss, what's the... Blake.
Yep, and Yang.
And Yang, who is Ruby's
Yang
sister.
is Ruby's sister.
And that's how they get the name.
Yep.
Anyway, so what did you like about it, Stair?
Well, partially, I'm a huge Rooster Teeth fan. I do a lot of stuff with it. So when they started this, I kind of watched it from the beginning and just was interested. I've not nearly watched as much anime as you have, at all. And a lot of anime I've never really gotten into that much. Like, I've watched some, like, Naruto, and I've watched some DBZ, but that's toned down anime compared to some things that are out there, obviously. Mm-hmm. And so this, I kind of fell into smoothly, and I liked a lot. The way this is set up, I liked a lot. The story's good. The just the action I liked. It's a good, and I'll say this because you can say this with this one. It's a good cartoon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. Things I liked. One, the animation style, although I'm not a huge fan of it, I understand why it happened and why it is the way it is.
And it got better.
They do a good job with it, and it, like I said, it does get better from the first season to the second season. And I imagine the third season, as successful as it has been, will be even better.
Yep.
And like I said, to me, anime has always been about telling stories that don't fit well in other mediums. You know, there's some things you can't make live action and make it decent. There's some things you can't put in book form and make them all right. Books are more flexible, but there's still things that you can't do. And anime has sort of always been the dumping ground for all of those stories that don't fit really anywhere else.
Because it's visual, and yet it can still be fantastical.
Yes, it's visual, but it's extremely fantastical. You can make whatever you want, and that's where you get. That's to me what I love about anime is everyone has a story, but in order to actually get a story out there, you have to cut away so much of what makes it great. Sometimes that by the time it gets for public consumption, it's lost a lot of what really made it great. Mm-hmm. And anime cuts to the chase. Now, RWBY goes a step farther. Anime has become, well, I guess Americanized is the better word. It's become more corporate, and it's become more big business than it was ever intended to be. And now, you know, it's suffering from a lot of the things, which we will talk about later in our new series that we're going to start here. And we'll talk about this later, and this is an excellent point that I'll bring up at then. But it's become a lot more big business. Now, Rooster Teeth did the exact opposite. They went small scale, and they basically made an indie video game version of an anime.
Everything in-house.
They did it in-house.
Yep.
They did it for a couple $1,000, and they just made whatever they could, slapped it up there. And like I said, it's pure distilled story. And I think that's what makes it pretty great, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, the characters are amazing, the plot's not amazing, but it's so...
There's a lot there.
It's almost... I'd use the word cute. It's so...
times, yeah.
It's so tidy at times. And I mean, it's witty, and the writing is good. And it's so, like I said, it's just this little story, and it's great for what it is, and it's not presumptuous, and it doesn't try to be anything other than just
it knows exactly what it is,
and it's, like I said, and it does an excellent job with it, and I think that is its main strength.
Well, Rooster Teeth was lucky because they've brought in people at the beginning just to work on Red vs. Blue that are very, very talented. Mm-hmm. Good writing, good animation, you name it, the mocap, everything. They do that very, very well.
Yeah.
And that worked with a handful of the people that were there decided they wanted to take something that was created by Montiome originally, partial to creation. I think he did most of the character ideas. That was his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they ran with it.
Yeah, and I mean it's exactly that. Like I said, it's the indie revolution in terms of video games and things has been going on for the last 5-10 years.
Yeah.
And this is a child of that, and one of the precursors of that. Really, it's where you cut out what has always been the barriers, and modern technology has allowed much smaller companies and people to put out media that have never been able to before.
Like YouTube.
Like YouTube and like this
Like
show
this
here.
show.
This is
Realistically, without YouTube, there'd be no way for us to do this.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much our total investment has been we've got a decent Canon camera. I've got a fancy snowball mic, which I forgot today, which we paid like $60 for.
But other than that,
we can slap it up on the internet and get seen by hundreds of thousands of people, which we never will. But it's a dream. Point being that it has allowed people to do things like this. And like I said, it's for what it is so cool to me. And like I said, Sarah's been telling me to watch it for years and I never have. But I finally caved, and I am very glad that I did.
I also I think season 3 will come out this year. I know Montione passed away. I think it was within the last 6 months. I think that delayed some things.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that they've kind of kept back up right where they were. To me, one of the coolest parts of this whole show is the weapons.
Yes.
Hands down, the weapons are awesome.
Well, like I said, that's what makes it very anime. Anime has always been, it's always very over the top with its has these the archetypes of like fantasy combat, harking back to D&D days,
and it's the same.
All of the teamwork
Yeah.
and the combat rules and all of this over the top.
And that's why I enjoy that with the comedy, and there is a lot of comedy in
Yeah,
this.
like I said, the writing is really slick. Really,
It's funny.
It's really really slick. You can tell there's a lot of talented people that work.
Yeah.
But it's so baseline and streamlined. Like I said, it's got all of the good bits of anime, but it's boiled down to its pure essence.
Well, let's explain the 4 main characters' weapons as a little hint to what we're talking about. Let's do RWBY last. So if you start with Yang.
Yes, Yang is the precocious older sister who is basically, I would put her down as the super sorority girl.
Yeah, she kind of is.
She is blonde and tall
Yep.
and hot, and she has a very likable personality, and she's just over the top crazy.
And the weapons she uses are shotgun gauntlets.
Yeah, she has shotgun fist gauntlets
Yes.
that shoot giant elemental fire everywhere when she punches things.
It's pretty awesome. Work backwards then, so then it would be Blake.
Blake is, what do they call them? She's a anthropomorphic
Yes.
humanoid of some variety. She's a cat girl,
Which
basically.
she hides.
She hides with a silly bow
Because they're
that
kind
folds
of
down
a-
her ears.
They're kind of a...
They're discriminated
Yes.
against. In the world of RWBY, the anthropomorphic humanoids are discriminated against heavily. So she hides that she's a cat girl with a silly bow in her hair.
But her weapon is a pistol and a
She has
sword?
like a pair of like Shoto swords
Yeah.
that are combination pistols.
But then they also sometimes will go like ribbon-like because she throws
she
things.
can like, I don't know.
It's weird, but they're
The magic
cool.
system is weird in that
Oh,
story to
it-
begin with, so it's
they-
hard to know
They
what's actually going
consume
on.
something to create the magic.
It's called dust.
Dust, which is where we get to Weiss, because Weiss's family is a major dust producer.
Yeah, she's if you're like I said, if you're going personality archetypes, you've got sorority girl Yang. Blake is the bookish, like nerdy, sort of
Emo
quiet
chick.
one emo chick.
Yeah.
Who I always
Weiss.
have a thing for, by
Yep,
the way.
yep.
Yeah.
Weiss
Weiss is the
is-
snooty rich girl,
Yep.
and she uses a rapier fencer style, but she's also the most like
Magic based.
she's also has the most like magical power.
But her family, being the one that created dust, she had the most access to it.
Yeah, and she throws around a bunch of like elemental ice attacks.
Well, and her
things.
rapier has like a revolver.
Yeah, it's like a revolver thing.
And when she uses different settings, it does different things magically. So it's really cool when she's like spins that thing and just goes nuts. But it's cool.
Yes. And the last and main character is obviously RWBY. who
The
is-
gullible little sister.
And she's younger than everyone else, and she's sort of naive, and she's sort of gullible, but she's crazy, crazy fast is her combat thing. And she uses this weird giant
collapsible. It's
mega
collapsible,
scythe thing.
but it's a giant scythe. Comboed with
A sniper rifle.
a sniper rifle.
And again, it's over the top pure anime. And it's, like I said, it's pretty excellent, really, in a lot of ways. And we've been rambling for like 15 minutes. So
Well, one other thing is, if anybody has ever played Halo, I would definitely recommend to watch Red vs. Blue as well. It's very, very good. And like I said, there's 20-some seasons. This is a good... I'll still say anime. I mean, it's not like there's a different version to call it.
yeah, there's not really a word for what it is.
It's
Like I
a
said,
it's a good cartoon.
It is. It's an indie anime.
There you go.
Is
That's
I
what I
think
say
the
it.
best descriptor of it.
Yep, and I liked it a lot.
And
Doesn't fit in any of the stereotypes necessarily.
well, it does because it uses a lot of the really common anime tropes, which is a mark in its favor. And like I said, it is. To me, anime has always been about the storytelling, and this is, to me, pure storytelling. And it's done by a bunch of really talented people on a shoestring budget,
Nope.
and it comes out a lot better than one would expect.
Yes.
Especially for something as complex as trying to do an anime.
So yeah, I would recommend watching RWBY.
I give it a 9. Like
yeah,
I said,
really enjoy it.
And it's not really a 9 about its sheer quality, because the quality isn't super high, but for being low budget, the writing is great, the characters are great,
And
the
it gets
plot
better.
is good,
And it progresses.
and the progression is good. And like I said, the story it tells is a good story with good characters. Now, the medium it uses isn't that great, but it is getting better as Rooster Teeth becomes the mecha empire it is. They're putting more money into it. It's become successful. And the third season starts in, I think, 70 days or something. I read online last night when I was doing some digging.
Yep.
And like I said, I think it'll be excellent. I recommend watching it a lot. Especially if you've never watched anime and it's
This is
something
a good
you
way to
might be
start.
interested in, this is an excellent gateway.
Yep.
Because it's very American. It doesn't have a lot of those Japanese cultural things that anime does a lot of times that American people don't understand until they've watched some more Japanese
You're not
anime.
going to get the big eyes. You're not going to get the nosebleeds. You're not going to get the winks in the corner of your eyes. That's not what this is.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's very, very American, but it is the essence of anime distilled into its purest and most abbreviated form.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I think it is excellent.
I'm not going to rate it only because I don't watch enough anime overall. I would probably be close to what Kevin said anyway, but I don't know that much about anime. I would just recommend
Don't rate it as
watching
an anime. Just rate it on its own merits.
Well, I would say that with the way everything is story-wise and the characters and the plot and everything, I think it's probably right there at a 9. It's really, really good.
Like I said, it's not. You can't really compare it to anything else because it is its own thing.
Yeah.
But like I said, it is for what it is. It is definitely, and it's really short. It's not a huge time investment. The first season has like 3 and 4 minute episodes. I mean, so you can literally knock both seasons out in a single night if you want to, which I did. And
All
I
on YouTube,
watched.
or you can go on to Rooster Teeth's website and find it. I know you can find it on Crunchyroll. They have it out on DVD now. There are multiple ways to find it.
It's everywhere. It's free. Just watch it.
I would recommend watching it. By all means, watch it. Let us know what you think of it. It'd be interesting to see some other perspectives. I know, like I said, I don't watch that much anime. Kevin watches a lot of anime. This is something we both liked a lot. Like, subscribe, share. Tell us what you guys think. If there's an anime that you want us to watch, let us know. He's always looking for new things. He might have already seen it.
I gotta get Stair on board.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get there. Yeah, grad school is keeping me busy during this last semester. We'll see you this summer though. But
I gotta introduce him to something good. Maybe I'll make him watch Death Note or something.
Or Bleach. I've been watching that too. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes and continue from there. So, thanks again, and like usual.
Thanks for staying until after the credits.